Second time lucky, I guess. Here I go again after failing to make sure that the previous recording had sound. This week we have two papers on domain-specific languages of some sort. And so I think it's fair to say that these papers are not innovating in the sense of having new programming language techniques, but they look for new applications of programming language techniques in web-related domains. And so let's talk about them one at a time. Let's start with the Scooter and Sidecar paper. So what we have here is web applications, and I guess more back-end than front-end. And so web applications, you have a database, and you update the database when users do stuff. It's hard to get them correct in terms of security. And, probably most of the time if we write applications, they're probably okay, I guess, but maybe I wouldn't bet on it. And if it's like big enough, then it's going to have a security problem. And there's going to be accesses that the developers didn't intend to allow. So the solution that people have come up with before is you have model view controller. And so here we have model policy view controller. And so there's a separate policy, and the policy is at runtime enforced so that the code cannot do anything that violates the privacy policy. That's fine. But the next problem is, of course, applications evolve. Like there's nothing that's, static, and it's not good forever. So you have new requirements, you need to do new code, and then when you have new code, then you have to migrate the schema. And so historically, when you migrate the schema, then you write some custom SQL code to change the database, and then is it correct? I don't know. No one knows. So you're just having some handwritten code, and it may do two things. It may expose data in the migration, and it also may change the accessibility of things after the migration. So there's two ways to lose here. And so in this case, what we have is a significant programming language design task to have a language that integrates both the schema as well as the migration of schemas and adding new information to the database. And then there's a use of SMT solving to make sure that the policies are no more permissive than they were before the upgrade. And so, or if they are more permissive, then the developer has to explicitly say, we are weakening the security policy. And so you can still shoot yourself in the foot, but at least the gun is going to tell you, hey, you're pointed at your foot. Are you sure you want to pull the trigger? Okay, so that's the Scooter and Sidecar paper. So, web programming, fairly simple application of technology, but effective, and we will talk about that. The second paper is about do-it-yourself assistant, and this paper is actually pretty different from other things we've seen. It's end-user programming. It's again in the web domain. And so what we have here is a system for non-programmers to write code. And that kind of thing has been in, people have written papers about that in the past. But yeah, this one is specialized for the web domain. And one thing I'll point out is that it uses Mechanical Turk, which is a way that you can pay random people on the internet to do things for you. It could be a bit exploitative. In this case, it's probably kind of fine. They have a programming language, ThinkTalk 2.0, and it allows end-user programmers to say things on web pages that they want to do, and then they can run their scripts. We should talk about the expressive power of the script and whether we believe that it has the expressive power that we want. They also do quite a bit of surveying. So they do a survey to find out what end user needs actually are, and then they do surveys of the people who use their system to see whether the system was useful and easy to use and things like that. So yeah, we will talk about what we think about this paper. Maybe we'll talk about whether we believe that arbitrary people can write these programs or not. Okay, so those are the two papers that we have in this second to last week of paper discussion, and we will talk about these papers tomorrow. See you then.